Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Make It Make Sense. I'm your host, Bottles and Beer, and today we're gonna get into a tag video from my man Ace Vendetta with Smell Better Fragrances. It's gonna be a video about 5 fragrances that started off this fragrance journey for me. So keep it locked. Let's get to it. Pow. All right, let's start this thing off with probably the first one that I did pick up for this fragrance journey. Not necessarily knowing that I was going to go on a journey, but we'll get into that shortly. But the first one up is from the house of Versace. We have Versace Eros, EDT. This one right here don't really need no introduction. It's pretty popular. Mainstream in the community, all across the board. With this one, you get a aromatic green style of a scent. It's pretty fresh, spicy. It leans towards a younger demographic, but when I picked this one up, you know, I was never really big on fragrances coming up. I'll get a bottle every now and then, but nothing major. But when I picked this up, I did like it. I received a lot of compliments on it. And I mean, it was pretty decent. I mean, for what I paid for it, I was pretty happy with it. You get an amber accord, pretty sweet. You get some woods in this one. More of a clubbing style fragrance. And of course, I was outside. Let's just say I was outside when I was wearing this. Great compliment factor. Did pretty decent. I don't give it as many wearings today, considering my collection, and quite frankly, I don't know, I kind of outgrew this one, but I still recommend this to anyone that's, you know, starting off a collection. Again, from the house of Versace, we have Eros, the EDT. All right, next up, we have a classic. But before I get into that, let me just say my journey started kind of odd. If you notice my name, a lot of you all are probably wondering what's with the Bottles and Beer, and I don't really talk about any alcoholic beverages. That's for the fact that I am going on 4 years sobriety. That was a bad part of my life, but that name, I chose to keep the name because that name been with me since my early 20s. I'm not going to speak about my age right now, but let's just say over 15 years of me carrying that name. So I let the name stick, but I no longer drink. But in the process of me starting a sober lifestyle, I did pick up another hobby. And as you can see, that hobby became collective fragrances. With that being said, let's get right to the next one. So the next one up, we have from the house of Jean Paul Gaultier. And we have Le Male, the EDT, the original. This one right here. Now, when I bought this, I bought it because I mean, it was quite affordable. The reviews on it was good. I didn't look too deep into it. I didn't really get to you know, to who the perfumer it was and all that. I didn't even realize that this came out in the 80s. It didn't strike me as that type of fragrance when I got it neither. I immediately became a fan of it. I was happy with the buy. It's a fresh, spicy. It's heavy on the lavender and the vanilla. There's a slight cinnamon accord to it. I mean, you can wear this dressed up, dressed down. It's good for all occasions. Compliment factor, not as much, but I complimented myself. I knew when I walked out the house, I knew I smelled great with this one. And yeah, I gave it a lot of wearings when I purchased this bottle. Again, from the house of Jean Paul Gaultier, got Le Male. Classic fragrance. Classic fragrance. All right. I'm kind of moving through these kind of fast. Kind of under the weather, but I had to get this video knocked out. I am kind of late responding to this tag. But with that being said, next up, this one I'm gonna say is when I realized that I want to take a deeper dive into fragrances once I received this one, because I mean, this scent here blew me away. From the house of Yves Saint Laurent, we have La Nuit de L'Homme. Now this one, man, this is a classic. I mean, this is a staple house. Everyone who collects fragrances know about this one. I don't have to go in depth what it is. The main accord with this one is the cardamom. This is the one that got me hip to the note of cardamom, because that's the standout note that you get from this. This is one of the smoothest, the sweetest smooth fragrances that I have in my collection to date. The blend of this was just done with perfection. I could wear this anytime. Now the compliment factor on this one, through the roof. I've never wore this without someone complimenting me on how I smell. That's not a main factor for me, but I mean, let's be honest, a compliment on your scent, that it make you feel good. Let's just keep it real. But with that being said, this is a fresh, spicy, citrusy, aromatic style of a fragrance, good for any weather, in my opinion. A lot of people say they wouldn't wear it in the high heat. It didn't bother me none. I would wear it whenever I get that urge. I still wear it to this day. This is not one that I kind of put off because I've had it so long. And again, once I got my nose on this one is when I started looking at different YouTube reviewers on fragrances, because I wanted to find more like this, because apparently I missed the boat when this launched. I was so far behind. So I thought this was one of the greatest things given to man. With that being said, if you haven't got your nose on this, guys, you definitely should. From the house of Yves Saint Laurent, again, we got La Nuit de L'Homme. All right, next up is one that I no longer have in my possession. And man, did I catch some heat by giving this one away. I ended up gifting it to my father. My father really did enjoy that fragrance, and it didn't dawn on me that that was a Father's Day gift from my wife. So I've been catching heat for that one. But with that being said, this particular fragrance everyone knows about, probably one of the most sought after fragrances out there to date, one of the best selling. I'm gonna leave it right up here. That's Dior Saage, the EDT. So when I got my nose on that one, again, it was gifted to me because I was saying that that's one that I wanted. At this time I had started watching reviews, even asking people on Facebook, you know, what's a good fragrance for men, and that one popped up. I never got around to buying it, but I did plan on it. Anyway, my wife ended up gifting it to me, and when I tell you, that by far took the cake. Compliment factor, we all know what that one was. Anytime you leave the house with that one, people knew what it was you had on. If they didn't know, they were definitely asking. It's a real ambroxan heavy style of a scent, like a shower gelish type style. Very aromatic, very potent. I mean, it's an in-your-face style of a fragrance, but I mean, a perfect blend to me at the time. Now that I've dived a little deeper into this, would I reach for the EDT? Probably not. I would probably go for a stronger concentrate if I choose to get it back in my collection. I just never got around to rebuying it, but I would suggest it to anyone who doesn't have it. It's probably one of the most hated on fragrances now because of how popular it became. Now people tend to talk down on it, but let's be honest, it's a top of the class fragrance. Again, from the house of Dior, we have Dior Saage. All right, last but not least, this one I picked up after the Dior Saage craze. Again, I was so enthused by that one, I couldn't wait to find my next banger, one that was gonna knock it out the park, because I figured this is definitely something that I was gonna be doing. So I wanted to get something that's gonna probably smash Dior Saage. Now, I'm not gonna necessarily say it did that, but it definitely did its part. from the house of Paco Rabanne, we got 1 million. Now this is the original 1 million, before all the flankers. This one, we talking about a warm, spicy, cinnamon, very sweet, a candy style sweetness with it, woody. You got a tad bit of leather in this, very smooth, very, I wouldn't say sophisticated. The rose note in this, it gives it a good laid back feel. I mean, you could wear it to clubs or parties or something like that, but it's not strong at all. It's potent. I mean, it projects very well. Everybody will smell this on you, but when I say it's not strong, it's not heavy on the nose. It's very pleasant. Get some patchouli in this. It's slightly green style of fragrance. Now they say it's some animalic notes in that. I don't get that at all. Again, this is very easy to wear, very sweet. One of the best at the beginning stage of my fragrance collecting. I was very pleased with this. If you haven't tried it, definitely give it a shot, guys. From the house of Paco Rabanne, we got 1 million. All right, that's gonna wrap things up. Again, shout out to Ace Vendetta with Vendetta Fragrances. Sorry for taking so long. Again, I've been under the weather. Just had to get out the rut that I've been in. A lot of people know what happened. I don't want to get into details, but let's just say hug on your loved ones when they're around. Don't wait till it's too late. Let them know how much you love them. Life is short. And before I go, let's do a moment of silence for any loved ones lost. I want to say rest in heaven to my son Isaiah Cook. You will always be missed. Thank you all for watching. Again, thanks for watching Make It Make Sense with Bottles and Beer. Until next time, love on your family. Catch you later. Pow.